plus that internal customers are definitely more difficult to please and satisfy than the external ones. Having said that, we have also been talking about this fast changing world where disruptions, technology oriented and non-technology oriented, have put those incremental demands on our customer centricity that we have to really step up all the efforts. The three prime examples of the last few months, non-technological driven disruptions are in front of us. Starting with June, Brexit, and then more recently, on a single momentous day of November 8th, one in the west of us, where somebody trumped somebody, and now the same night we got hit by what we call demonetization, which, mind you, from a digitalization perspective, probably is going to be held as the single most important lever. Changing the consumer habits is going to be taught in the near term by giving this as an example, where many of the players in the digital payment industry, in which I have also played a role in one of my earlier avatars, got 10 times increase in their volumes overnight. And some people are now claiming that the 10x has become actually 20x. How do you deal with that without letting your service levels dip? So those are the challenges as well as the opportunities that some of these disruptions have brought about. On the other hand, the two stalwarts on my left, Mahesh and Vivek, both have dealt with this entire BPM with a variety of customer base in their portfolio. You have heard about their introductions. I don't have to repeat that, but what I am looking forward to is a very exciting and enriching 40-45 minutes of conversation with each of them and each of you, which can actually define for us that what it means to move the entire paradigm up from customer satisfaction to entire customer experience management. As you all know, we have been talking about various touch points. We design processes to define customer expectations, to define SLAs, to define metrics, measurement, track our performance against that. But how do we move up from here? Because the mantra today is the entire journey has to be pleasant, positive, powerful, productive for the customer and hence the shareholders. So what I have agreed with my co-panelists is that they will all give us 2 to 3 nuggets of their wisdom, preferably based on some examples, etc., to tell us that what in their view is this whole customer paradigm, the whole mindset, the rebooting of the customer experience management, as if I may call, towards the transformational aspects means to them. And with those practical examples, I'm sure we will all learn something new. So without much ado, can I request with you, Annie, you have been talking about that you are not there as yet. But at the same time, we all know in this room how much more powerful brand Mother Dairy has become over years. And I'm sure the professionals behind that, people like you and many others, have done their bit to do something extra, that little bit extra for the customer experience becoming more positive. So over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I really didn't want to go off first, but okay. Since I've got the baton, might as well carry it. I think, I don't know, I'm assuming that a significant percentage are from Delhi, which means you know the brand, the Mother Dairy brand, and what we are about and how we have evolved in the whole ecosystem. There has been always a very strong emotional connect with the brand when I talk to people from Delhi. And sometimes, I mean, I'm a late entrant into Mother Dairy, and comparatively, I've been in Mother Dairy though for 11 years. And people tell me who have grown up in Delhi, who have been born and brought up in Delhi, tell me of the emotional attachment, and I don't know whether we have really leveraged that in the customer engagement, consumer engagement that we do. There's still, I think, a whole lot more to go. Talking about the strong brand consumer experience story kind of thing, I think the last 1 month or 22 days kind of thing have been remarkable. Mother Dairy has stood up and tried to cater to the demand of the consumer. While we have done very good business, let's keep that aside, but our entire focus has been to ensure, and luckily we were there. We had already started the whole SBI card initiative more than a year back. Paytm was in place for more than 6 months now. Not across, I think Shuffle was still not done yet, but milk booths, we had already started these initiatives and we could leverage on this. That to me was a really eye-opening experience on why you need to be ready, because you never know what is the opportunity which comes to you and where you are able to stand up and be there for the consumer, rather than try to put things around at the last minute. So I think we did a good story with that. From a customer experience, again, when you look at the whole ethos of Mother Dairy, we are about, our tagline is happy food, happy people, right? And our vision statement talks of delightful products that delight the customer. So we have always been about delighting the customer. So if you look at it from a product experience perspective, I am sure all of you will agree with me that we have done a very good job of delighting the customer from the product's portfolio perspective. If I look at a 24-hour story of a touch point with the customer, at every point there is some product which is designed to meet your need kind of thing. Over the last, I think few years, what we have tried to focus on is to make the process around the customer, right? To strengthen the customer, to listen more to the customer. So 2 initiatives which we picked up, one of them was what we call the Integrated Response Management System, or IRMS. We realized that all the consumer complaints, I assume all of you know that we have a very strong dependence on the cold chain, right? So assets, the deep freezers, the busy coolers, the milk chilling units in the field need to be operating 100% so that the concessionaire is not losing, and so that the product quality which is reaching the customer is of the best quality. So ensuring uptime and the repair of these assets is very critical. All of these service needs we bundled into one solution and we outsourced it. Earlier it used to get hidden within some legacy system, some things in SAP kind of thing. It was a very fragmented universe. I think 3 years back, we moved everything into this integrated system, and that suddenly changed the whole paradigm. We suddenly saw the number of complaints go sky high, and we were suddenly wondering what happened. I mean, we had a pretty satisfied user community. We had a pretty complacent sales community, marketing community saying things are fine, there are no issues, and suddenly the number of complaints have increased. So what we realized is that possibly when you are managing things in-house, and there is an in-house team which has been with the organization for a long time, they don't log multiple complaints for the same issue. If they get maybe 10 calls for the same issue, they will boil it down to maybe 2 or 3 instead of logging every complaint. That's the only explanation we had. So and it brought a huge visibility. We really put in a very robust solution, and the way and achieving, and we also did a lot of checks and balances, consumer satisfaction surveys, random sampling to see whether the consumer is satisfied with the response that he got, was the complaint satisfied appropriately. So that really changed, and to me, we really didn't expect to get that result. We were looking at it from a technology solution perspective. We said we need to have a very robust technology solution for this. Let's put that in place. But the impact was across the organization, the sensitivity. Yesterday I was in my Calcutta office and they said IRMS is our bread and butter. We completely depend on that to tell us what is happening in the consumer and the market space kind of thing. So that is one of the touch points. Again, I think, I don't know how many of you have encountered our social media campaigns, the hero next door kind of campaigns, which were very intensely engaging with the consumer. I think we've done that over 2 years now, run some really radical, very intense campaigns where we got very good feedback from the consumers. But again, have we defined it? When I said we are just on the path, to me, the customer experience needs to be defined ground up. It needs a complete radical redefining, re-transformation. Possibly the organization needs to be restructured to align with the consumer rather than the other way around. And I think that is something which we are still to do.
Yeah. So thank you so much. You have obviously connected the dots from the consumer perspective and also to your role as CIO and technology solution, all that. I'll take up on that a little later. Let me move to Balaji now so that you can probably educate and enlighten us on some of your initiatives, your experience, your own perspective on this managing the entire customer experience and your mantras.
Thanks, Anand, and thanks, Ravi, for inviting me to speak here. And one small comment to Ani. I am not from Delhi. I am from Mumbai. Still, I know about Mother brand as Mother Mary as a brand.
Thanks.
Okay. I have some of my ex-colleagues here, and my current partner is also here. One of my important current partner is also sitting here. So I'll cover with all the people in mind. See, as far as millions of customers facing company like ICICI, Prudential, or even some of the telecom industry where I worked in the past is concerned, we are talking about different sets of customers. It's not, customer is not one type who is going to come. It's not a one defined person. He is going to be multiple person with multiple age factor coming into picture. Where some of them would be technically savvy, some of them would be completely unsavvy. So we are talking about multi-channel, creating a multi-channel customer experience. It's not about single channel customer, we are talking about multi-channel. Yet for some of the customers who may shift channels, we have to provide a omni-channel experience. So from a customer perspective, it has to be multi-channel, and from the company perspective, we have to see it as an omni-channel. That is where the dichotomy comes in, and it requires huge centralization of data, huge this one, but still seeing it from a multiple touch point of view. That is one of the important factor to be taken into account. Second context setting for this one was in our industry, which is life insurance. I'm particularly talking about life insurance. It's a very low customer intensive product. It is not the customer is going to transact on a day-to-day basis. The transaction is going to happen once in a year at best. In fact, on an average, a customer calls once in 2 years. So that is the kind of this one. So it's not that the customer, you provide a user ID password, customer is going to remember that, or you are going to create something, is not going to remember your policy number. So all these should be taken into account while doing the servicing. If I'm a highly transaction intensive banking, customer will remember their things which need to be connected with the company. But in a life insurance kind of setup, that is not possible. So you have to literally think in a different way to reach to the customer. That is the next context. The third context I would like to say is that here in our kind of industry, lots of intermediaries are involved. Intermediaries, it is not, I'm distinguishing between external customer and internal customer. Intermediaries are not internal to the company, but they are external, but they are not external customers themselves. So we have to enable the distributors, intermediaries, who can be a big companies like partner, like for example, ICICI Bank is our partner, they sell our policies. Standard Chartered Bank is our partner, they sell our policies. And so are some individual agents and individual advisors to talk about. So we have to reach to those intermediaries also, who are also into different channel. We have to equip them to answer the customer when customer walks into them. So these are the three different contexts I thought. Three different contexts I thought I will set for the people here, because some of the factors may be relevant for different industries, but some of the factors would be restricted only to life insurance industry. So while talking about customer service, the only point which I am trying to make here, Anand, last line is that it is not one fits all size. It's not use IDEX on everything, headache, cold, or you fall down on that, this one rubbing. So it is not one IDEX solution for all the problems. Customer experience has different contexts, and even within the company it is not one fits all size solutions.
Very well. It has to be very, very specific to your needs and your customer base needs. So moving on, I would now request Mahesh to share his perspective. His is a business model where he has both external as well as internal, so-called internal customers to serve, but in a Mahindra group which is very, very federated in its structure, how do you deal with it?
Okay. Thanks, Anand, and very good evening to all of you present here. I'll actually call us as being one of those lucky generations which has actually experienced customer experience between 1990 and 2015. Most of us here have seen how we have transformed from, probably in early 90s we had nothing called a customer service, then it evolved to customer service, then it evolved today to customer experience, and seriously I don't know where it is going to go ahead beyond this, because it's very simple that we are moving from democracy to capitalism, so the customer is automatically becoming a king now. I'll start with a small anecdote. When I started my career about 15 years back or 16 years back now, interestingly for 13-14 years of my career I was on the right arm of Anand, and last 3 years I've come on the left side of Anand. So I was transferred unceremoniously from Bombay, where I've been born and brought up throughout, to a remote place in Kerala, which also happens to be my native place. So the only time I knew Kerala was when I used to travel by train, which used to take a 3-day journey from Bombay to Kerala. There was a place and they told me you are supposed to go here. I was part of a bank. I was told that we have taken over another bank and you need to take care of these 5-6 branches, do everything for them. Now I didn't know what is the definition of do everything for them, but what it meant to say that they don't have ATMs, they don't have computers, they still follow the culture that a cashier does only a cashier's job and doesn't sell you insurance and mutual funds across the counter when you're waiting to withdraw your cash or deposit your cash. So those are the things which I had to teach them to do. Those poor fellows, where I was 23, 24 and those poor fellows were 50, 55, waiting for the retirement benefits and PF and gratuity. I went into one such branch. Before going to the branch, I was feeling very proud because I was told that this was one among the 300 branches of that particular bank that we took over, which is fully computerized. And because they were the first branch to be fully computerized, the entire team, along with their families, was sponsored a trip to Kashmir. So I said, great, I'm really going to some exciting place. So I walked into that place at around, I think 11:30 in the morning, peak banking hour. I found, interestingly, the branch was on the second floor of a building, most inconvenient for any customer. The branch was divided in 3 parts: 1/3 locker room, 1/3 branch manager's cabin, and 1/3 is the customer, cashier, transaction, everything happening. And the branch manager's cabin, probably I think even Dhirubhai Ambani wouldn't have had such a fancy cabin. He had a royal chair and a couch and table, tea table and everything. So, but interestingly, when I walked in there, I expected everyone to be tapping on computers, but I found everyone was still using ledgers. So initially, of course, the boss has come, so You need to give tea and coffee and biscuits and all those things. So after all those things were over, I asked the branch manager that, aren't you fully computerized? He said, yes. So I asked him, where is the computer? He said, here on my table. So I said, fine, then why are the people not working on that? See, it's not working. So I said, what do you do then? So he said, it's not working for 7-8 months now. So then I said, okay, so what? When will it get working? And what are you doing about it? He said, no, we have a register. In the register, we write every day, today it did not work. So this was circa 2001, like we say, circa 1587 when Akbar ruled India. So today you go to any bank branch. Unfortunately, today you have completed the circle and our Prime Minister has ensured that we go back to the bank branch, a place we never visited probably in the last 5-8 years of our life. Today when you go to a bank branch or anything, I will ignore this November 8 till now and maybe the next 2 months. But actually there is no need for us to go to a bank's branch because we don't ever get cash from someone to go and deposit somewhere. If we get a check also, we go and just drop it into an ATM box. We do everything on websites now. Many of us now are forcibly moving to mobiles as well, including my father who's 74-year-old now, and he started using Paytms. So the way things have changed in the last 15 years is not something which I need to tell you all. You have experienced it. As I said, we are part of the lucky generation. Today, everything is instant, fast. While we sit in this room also, every 5 minutes our eye goes to see what is the next WhatsApp message that has come or what is the next mail that has come. So unfortunately, BlackBerry launched mail services in 2007-8 and screwed up all our lives. So we have become a different customer generation today, which is impatient and intolerant. So today I sit in an Ola cab and the AC is not working to my satisfaction. Immediately I got on the Ola app and I write a mail and I get a response also within 5 minutes. I still wonder how they are staffed to such an extent that they're able to respond to me like a chat on an email. And I always keep wondering that why are my people not able to do, and they have a standard SLA of 12-hour response time. So I'm still struggling to understand how they do it. Interestingly, when I moved from the right side of Anand to the left side of Anand, I started realizing how cruel and brutal I've been to all the service providers who had come to me for business over the last 13-14 years. I started this venture more as an entrepreneurial venture. The brand I used is of Mahindra's, and they gave me the office and infrastructure and everything. But they gave me a mandate that we will not give you any capital. So don't come asking us for money. You have to generate revenue yourself. So what Mahindra Integrated Business Solutions was probably 3 years back was handling just payroll and accounts payable for Mahindra and Mahindra group companies which pertain to the auto world and not even outside the auto world. And what I wanted to do was not just take it to the other companies other than the auto world of M&M, but also to take it outside the Mahindra group. So when I went inside looking for business, so as Anand said, we have a federated structure. So we are more governed by CFOs than by business heads. So typically the questions asked are, सबसे पहले बोलो arm's length है कि नहीं? So people who are, unfortunately I'm a chartered accountant, so I understood what is arm's length. Otherwise people will remember the old PT days when they had to keep one hand distance between the CFO and themselves. So the thing is, 3 quote चाहिए. 3 quote में से if your quote is not less and not more, I don't know what that means, but neither too less nor too more than your competitor's quote, we may think of giving you business. What value am I giving? That becomes secondary. What is important? Is there a related party clearance between us? Then the next question, Acha, whom have you done this for? Here I've just come, I'm looking at the big daddies within the group to tell you give me something, then I'll go out and tell I have got something from my group. The moment I went outside, I said, okay, theek hai, andar ke logo ko chhod do. I will not get business easily from here. As Anand said, they are the toughest customers. I said, let me go out. When I went out, people started saying, Acha, you guys do this job also. We thought you only sell the Scorpios and XUVs, which satisfies egos of people to say that we are 1 feet above others while on the road. On the other side, they started complaining about not being able to get bookings for Club Mahindra. Or the third and the most beautiful part is Tech Mahindra, saying that, oh, you guys acquired Satyam some time back and now you're a proper technology company. So as if we were not a technology company before Satyam era. So they never thought that we could do businesses like what an Accenture or a Deloitte or a KPMG does. So when I moved from B2C to B2B, the experiences were not so beautiful. But because of the brand, the people had to offer me a cup of tea, probably 2 biscuits, and say that, okay, theek hai, at least tell something. And if you are able to tell me something which is of value, which I'm sure you don't have, then we will see how we can do business with you. So we went about begging. Same thing I correlate with what Sandeep said some time back. We went begging and telling that we will participate in outcome. You tell me your problem statement. They said, yeah, 1000 problem hai yaar, aapko kaun sa problem do? So we had to help structure the problem also. And then we realized that the common problem across was last mile connect, which coincidentally I have Annie here. Her company is one of them which has beautifully managed it. The problem today, if you look at in most companies except e-com has learned and built it over the last 3-4 years. The problem is last mile connect. How do you connect with a customer? And because you are not able to connect with a customer, you are not entering those markets, which is why we keep hearing many things like rural market penetration is very low, the financial literacy is very low, Jan-Dhan accounts are opened but no one is transacting in that unless people used it as an option to deposit their black money. So we found that last mile connect is a problem. Now last mile connect has 2 issues. One is actually physically going. Second is using what most of the esteemed guests here spoke in the first half of the session, pre-lunch, which is using the digital transformation to do it. Now, both these areas, not known to us, not known to me, not known to large part of the team that I had, because we had never been a courier company, so we never knew how to do a last mile connect. We knew technology, but then we couldn't go to Tech Mahindra to say we need it because we needed a client order before we were able to do it. And then we suddenly realized that even in technology, there are various skill sets which rest with various people. So that's why we took a call that if a customer is impatient, a customer is intolerant, and a customer wants something which is instant, then these are the only 2 things into which we have to build our entire business model. And today, with the help of a lot of startups on the technology side, with the help of a lot of SMEs on the technology side, we have created a complete ecosystem. So today in true sense, so initially we were called Mahindra Business Solutions. Today we are called Mahindra Integrated Business Solutions, which simply means that we are a one-stop shop for the client. So you don't need to go to 10 vendors to get your problem done. You use me as a one service provider. What I can do, I will do. And what I can't do, I have a robust ecosystem of various partners where we consciously don't follow the whitelisting policy ki sab jagah Mahindra ka naam dal diya. We openly expose our partners and say that, look, the SLA is my responsibility. This is what I am going to do. This is what my partner is going to do. And this is what I'm going to deliver to you. So my job is to design solutions to address the problem and help only in 3 areas. The first area is how do I drive revenues for the client? How do I optimize the cost for my client or improve the bottom line? Third is how do I give a differential customer experience? I'll take a simple case study and then I'll stop my conversation here. All of you get emails, SMSs, calls from your banks, right? Okay, sir, you are in medium risk, high risk, please submit your re-KYC documents. And you always wonder, I've never gone to the bank for the last 5-6 years. I've given all my documents when I opened the account. And here today someone is calling me and telling, please submit your re-KYC documents. When do I do it? How do I do it? What documents do I carry? Do I take a leave? Today, unfortunately, even banks have 2 Saturdays off now. So when do I go and submit my KYC documents to the branch after taking photocopies? So this was a problem statement because of which even today, majority of the banks are non-compliant on this RBI mandate. We designed a complete integrated solution, to give an example, where we said that our call center will call your customers, our field team will visit your customers at their convenience, and we have a device which is completely hardened and secure, which is connected only to the bank server and nothing related to Mahindra's, and we come at your doorstep without paper, do a digital KYC for you and make you compliant for that RBI mandate process. Most of the entities in the market were doing the first time KYC. For re-KYC, we were the ones who developed this solution, and we developed this solution, you won't believe it, at a cost of just 50,000 rupees to build a prototype. And today, all my partners in this entire thing, today I have my call center. When I started, I didn't have my call center. So my call center partner, my field services partner, my technology partner, and myself, we all charge only a transaction fee based on success to the bank, and we take a share on a transaction basis on all of these. So the model itself is a non-capex based model. So just an example of how you need to address the customer need, which is more gone down to seconds now or milliseconds and no more minutes, hours and SLAs of days. Thank you.
Very good. So great example of a customer, in this case the bank primarily, and I think also the bank's customer. Okay, so both being served. So before I come back to you, we have to also look at the time clock. But Vivek, over to you. You are an entrepreneur in your own right, and your firm has done some remarkable job by leveraging technology for providing superior customer experience to your institutional clients. Would you like to just elaborate on that, please?
Yes. Thank you very much, Anand, and thank you, Mr. Ravi and Rakesh, for having me here. I think the mic is not working probably. It is. All right, so as Anand mentioned, Mynd Solutions is in the area of providing and running shared service centers in the finance and accounting space, in the HR space, with a lot of technology intervention. So we actually roll out processes, manage customer expectations across the board. In fact, today we have also launched the M1 Exchange, which is an initiative in the technology space with the RBI license, which we'll come to in detail slightly later. But for me, customer experience is essentially being able to first identify the customer objective. I mean, the need of the customer is prime, and that drives the entire customer experience from there on. I mean, when we started many years ago, I still remember for us, customer experience used to begin and end with customer service. I mean, somebody answering a query, somebody answering a phone call, somebody answering, an email that has come across. That is very, very reactive. So it does not do anything from a customer experience perspective, which is a much more proactive approach to enabling the customer to feel and achieve the objectives that he sets out to do when he sets up a shared service center. So I think, so there's a huge difference between customer service, which is actually reactive, and customer experience, which is much more proactive, and it encompasses a much larger field. That's how we have approached all our clients, all our initiatives, all our engagements. I think internally we look at, of course, because of the area that we work in, which is running shared service centers, customer experience is prime. I would probably add to the question that was put forward initially on the panel, that is it a sustainable differentiator? I would pretty much take it to the next level and say that it is probably today the only differentiator, because many times in today's world you have people who can start off a business from their garage and reach the world in pretty much no time, because everything is at their fingertip. The actual difference is how you treat the customer, how you reach out, how do you meet his expectations, revenue, cost, objectives are met, very critical. So that's how we look at customer experience internally. And just to share with you, we have always, we have a mantra internally which we say SFTP is the key to customer experience, good customer experience. Now, SFTP in the technology field, as you would say or know, is secured file transfer protocol, but that's not what I mean. It's more to do with smartness, flexibility, thinking ahead, and promptness. So all these factors, when clubbed together, make a huge difference. And there are many examples of how we have actually initiated or experienced these aspects when we deliver services. Innovation and technology intervention is key. I mean, and that forms pretty much part of thinking ahead. One realizes that when you are in this industry, which is a service industry, and there are a lot of players, one always has to think ahead of the curve. So thinking ahead of the curve is inclined, to be married to technology at some stage. So we have done a lot of innovation, done a lot of platforms that brings a lot of integration and automation for all of our clients on a SaaS model on the cloud, which is pretty much in line with thinking ahead, which is a key to the customer experience that we bring to the table. An example that we can share with you is, let's say we work with a very large organization, Indian corporate, but over the years they have spread their wings across various countries. One of the problems sitting on their table was, how do we manage people across these countries, across these geographies? Not that they weren't being able to do it, they were being able to do it, but they had to go to different vendors in different countries, understand different rules and regulations. They had the challenge of actually bringing everything together and then viewing it. We brought in the solution where we could actually manage the entire workforce across geographies on a single platform. So it was a multi-country, single platform experience, which brought a lot of value to the corporate, and in turn, upped the quotient of customer experience. Not that they were not doing it earlier, it's only that they were doing it in a much, much better, more efficient, more optimized way when we brought the solution to them. Similarly, I touched upon M1, which is the exchange that we are launching under the TREADS scheme launched by RBI. Now, again, these are areas that are traditionally, and people have been working in these areas. For example, there is a vendor universe, there is a corporate, and there is the bankers. Now, all of them operate in their own silos, typically. I mean, yes, vendors and corporates work together, vendors and banks work independently, banks and corporates work. So it's a triangle which works independently. But the exchange gave us an opportunity to think, to innovate, and bring all these three pillars onto the same platform under the TREADS exchange, which allows for vendors to put up their invoices on an online platform. It allows corporates to go online and approve those bills. It allows banks to come there and then auction or bid for any of the vendor invoices. So what this has done is that it has brought all three pillars onto the same platform. And that has changed the customer experience. It has changed how a corporate views the entire process, how a vendor interacts with the corporate and the bank, and how the bank also interacts with all these three entities. So having said that, that for us is customer experience, enhancement of customer experience, and bringing the best out of any of these engagements.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vivek. I have a couple of supplementaries here, and I'm aware of the time constraint. So I'll first start, Vivek, with you, because you touched upon a very interesting dimension of this entire customer experience management, that is the treating employee as a customer. To ultimately be able to give superior service to your customers, you need to take care of the employee population, employee constituency also, as if they require care like a customer. And you touched upon that in your example. How exactly do you create differentiators which create a better employee engagement and motivation?
Absolutely. So, I think this is not working. Yeah, so to answer your question. Okay.
Collaboration.
Hello? Yeah, it is working. Thank you. So to answer your question, I think because we are in the HR space, we are dealing constantly with a lot of employees across organizations. And employee delight is pretty much the end objective of whatever we do. Whether we run processes, whether we bring automation, whether we bring self-service, employee delight is the be-all and end-all goal for the service. So there are many, many ways that employees delight or customer experience of employees is accentuated. And first and foremost is, pretty much in today's world is enabling the employee himself. So I mean, as far as we are concerned, we don't want people calling us, people writing to us, or people asking questions. We would like to enable the employee himself by way of technology, that they have all the necessary information in front of them, and today's world on their phone, actually. So mobile plays a huge role in ensuring that customers, employees are engaged and enabled to enjoy the experience.
I move over to now Annie, and would like to understand you gave a beautiful exposition about the consumer-centric initiatives that were taken, and things changed dramatically, still not at the level that you would like. Maybe you would like to throw some light on what is being done to address your internal customer needs, because you are also the CIO of the company, and many of your customers from your CIO function will be within the company.
I think I always feel that it is easier to satisfy the external customer than the internal customer, but which is, I think, the right way, the way things should be, because the moment the internal customer becomes satisfied, you've got things too easy. From an internal customer perspective, I mean, again, so you want me to go through the processes which we have?
One or two things, because for example, enhancing your ERP capabilities and leveraging those things for better business-driven outcomes for your colleagues.
Yeah, but that's a continuous engagement with the business, which anyway happens. We, as IT, in fact, I'm very defensive when I do something for IT as such, for core IT, because to me the purpose of IT is to deliver for the business, for whatever the business enablement. Unless that objective is being met, IT per itself, while it is very glamorous, it is very good to have the latest technologies, the latest bells and whistles, but that's not the end purpose of IT. So whatever we do finally has to meet a business objective. That's something which I am very clear on. So all of our, in fact, even like you asked earlier about the employee engagement part of it, right? We are doing EBP because what the organization is, what the organization believes in, is what gets communicated to the customer, and hence ensuring that the entire organization is aligned on the customer service part of it, the customer delight part of it. Was one initiative which we took up, I think, 1 year back, and that's something which we've been following through. Then again, before I forget, I wanted to tell something, so since I have the opportunity, I'll just use it. We have just launched a Mother Dairy app, but it is limited to Noida. Right now we are doing a trial in Noida. So if any of you are able to download it, play with it a bit and tell us what you think about it. It is a very small app. We are not doing any selling on it or anything like that. It is just providing you some discounts when you go to the booths, kind of thing. So please try it out. These are some of the things which we are doing, because we are very cognizant of the fact that the kind of supply chain we have, the cold supply chain that we have, engaging the last mile with the customer is very difficult. If you look at all the e-commerce players or anything like that, they are mostly playing in the ambient space. There are very few who have actually managed to crack that cold chain effectively. So we are still trying to figure out how do we directly connect with the customer from a delivery perspective, right? So that's one point which we are. But in the meantime, when we talk of our internal customers, what we are trying to build is, initial years we were focused on building the back-end systems, the financial systems, SAP kind of things. Then we said, okay, let's build the entire front end, which is the distributor management, Salesforce automation, the retail solution, so that you are touching the customer, getting more insights into what is a customer buying, how often is the customer visiting, what are the, because those perceptions also are very ingrained in our supply chain. Typically Delhi, I mean, shuffle booths, morning hours, 6 to 8 is where my peak sales happen. But lately we have been seeing a shift. It's also there in the evening hours. So as the generation is changing, it is more changing to the evening hours kind of thing. The early morning walkers are reducing, who are going to the shuffle booth as a mandatory activity. So this are giving us a lot of insights on which to build the internal systems. Again, farmer, while farmer is a supplier and a vendor, but from a customer service perspective or a customer experience perspective, I would say it's a very important component. So transparency, we have deployed a lot of systems at the village level for collecting milk from the farmer. When the farmer comes to pour milk, I don't know how many are aware of this, but basically there are two parameters on which milk quality is assessed. One is the fat content, one is the SNF, solids not fat content. Whether he gives you 1 liter, 5 liters of milk, doesn't matter. He gets paid on the fat and SNF content. So when he comes to deliver the milk, there are lactometers which test the fat and SNF content, the weighment is done, and actually based on that he immediately gets a receipt which says, based on the fat and SNF content, this is what he will get paid for the volume of milk that he has given. And this transparency is critical to the ecosystem, that when he pours the milk, he knows how much he should get for it. So we have deployed a lot of systems at the village level, and every step, I mean, milk collection is one part, ensuring that it is kept fresh, the cold chain comes into place, and right from ground up level, the entire cold chain is maintained, is integral to the whole milk supply chain. So we have put in a lot of effort into those areas, into ensuring that the farmer gets paid. Typically it's a payment cycle kind of thing. So on the 11th day, it's a 10-day payment cycle, on the 11th day the farmer has to get paid. That's the mandate, and that's what we have put in a lot of systems for. And farmer satisfaction is a critical component.
Okay. I had a few more questions for myself, but I would rather give opportunity to the audience to raise your hands and please ask questions to any of the panelists, and we have about 5 more minutes to go.
Yep.
Yeah, there is a hand up there. Can you please pass on the mic, please?
I have a question to Ms. Annie. Ma'am, you mentioned that post your ERP getting live, the number of complaints from your customers suddenly increased. So, what is the solution which you propose? Because in our company also, we are just assimilating all the data and making few SAP systems live. So I'm sure that your feedback and your innovative ideas will definitely help us to resolve in case this comes up to us as well.
I think, let me clarify. Initially, I don't think SAP is going to be very happy with this, but initially we had put everything in SAP. And we realized, I don't know, SAP being what it is, there were some barriers, right? One, we needed to roll it out. We needed to remove any license constraints when we were disbursing the or giving the touch points to the system. So we said we will not, so that is what we did. Last 3 years, what we did is we took it out of SAP into a package. Let me put it as a package which we got from our solution provider, and that is where we focus. So what we did is, I mean, if you look at from an equipment point of view, which may not be relevant for you, but that is an imperative. So if I have got a civil complaint, if I have got an electrical complaint, if I have got some water related complaint, or if I have got, for instance, an electric shock complaint kind of thing, some equipment is possibly have some earthing issue, I need to handle them, each one of them with a different responsiveness, right? So every, that kind of granularity of complaint management plus escalation. So for some of my complaints, I have got 2-hour kind of resolution window. That if it doesn't get resolved within 2 hours, it has to get escalated to the next level. Those kind of things we couldn't manage it in SAP. Which is why we took it out of SAP and we said, okay, let's bring in the same responsiveness when we handle consumer service requests. So again, most of the time, if there is a product quality complaint kind of thing, it arises because of thermal shock, improper placement at the outlet before being sold to the customer. So our only recourse is to replace the product, because you can't really handle every supply chain issue at the outlet level what is happening. So we replace the product kind of thing. So depending on the nature of complaint, we have different service levels and escalations built in, and we do very intense measurements of those. So SAP we put in when we started with SAP, but we moved it out to get the responsiveness we wanted.
I have a point to make also.
Yeah,
is that apart from what she said, whenever you introduce a new channel or whenever you strengthen a particular customer channel, engagement channel, the complaint will go up, because hitherto what is not coming through will start coming. Actually, so that is a right thing. I mean, if the channel is good enough, I think it should increase your complaints and other stuff that need to be addressed, because hitherto it was hidden, and that is coming out of the surface. That we have also faced in few of the areas, but we will have to address it at the time.
Yeah, I think you mean that we have now created a platform for the vendors or the customers to come and raise their issues, so that, you know, indirectly we can also fix our internal processes, so that
Absolutely.
Secondly, it sits in too many compartments, right? So you don't have a visibility. It's also making it visible. Secondly, we also started bringing in anything on any social media platform, consumer complaints platforms, from anywhere we started bringing in feeds into the system, so that we are not isolating it to who is calling us, but anyone is talking about us also, we have visibility, all that, and we close the complaint.
Thank you very much. The subject is of such a great importance, and the response being made here could trigger a lot of debate. I see more hands going up. Please, next question.
Yeah. A lot of what was discussed was basis technology solutions for enhancing customer experience. One important aspect that I think which was not touched enough was with respect to there would be still touch points where a company employee would be dealing with customers.
Correct.
How do we look at empowering the employees so that they provide solutions to the customers rather than leaving the customer high and dry? A typical example could be calling up any of the DTH service providers and complaining about connectivity issues, TV not working. And the answer would be, there would be a problem at your end. I would have to send an engineer and it would cost 150 rupees. This is without even bothering to do diagnosis about the problem and trying to provide one-stop solution. You'll have to pay so much without even really checking what the problem is. So I think what is still missing, at least in the Indian context, and a lot of companies which are of the Indian origin, is that the customer centricity piece. In terms,
excuse me,
yeah.
What is the question?
The question is how
employee empowerment is the
yes,
question.
yes.
Okay. And
Yeah, the question is
Yeah.
either for Mahesh or for Vivek.
Okay, I'll address it, Balaji. What you have touched upon is a very important point, and I'll tell you today it goes back to something which is more important is, look, 10-15 years back, before the advent of technology, it was 100% people and probably limited amount of technology. Today, the struggle that most of the companies face is, what is the right mix? Should it be 80-20, 70-30, 60-40? Going back to the favorite bank example itself, when I started my career in banking, we knew what a debit and a credit and what a withdrawal and a deposit happens. Today, thanks to technology, whenever you walk into a bank branch, you have F4, F10 bankers. F4 is accept, F10 is what is committed by the approver. To be very frank, as technology advent is happening, one thing which is not happening in parallel is improving the quality of human resources. So we are focusing on making technology ensure redundancy of certain jobs but we are not putting enough focus on empowering people to actually start performing quality jobs. And that is something which is what I see a small step being taken by some organizations towards that, but that is how the next 10 years is going to be. Where even, simple example is, today does BCom have any value in the market? It doesn't. 15 years back, the moment you pass BCom, you would have got a 6,000, 8,000 rupees per month job. Today, I go for, and pardon me for the chartered accountants who are here, I am also a chartered accountant. When I go for campus interviews, I interview 100 people. At the end of it, because I spend my entire day, I probably select 1 or 2 from there. Because if given a choice, I wouldn't select even a single person. The same things as a choice, pardon me again, IIMs and ISB guys. To the extent possible, I see I don't hire IIM and ISB guys in my team for a simple reason that I find theoretically and creatively, they are superlative. But when it comes to rolling up your sleeve and executing, I always have the challenge. It's because we have not invested in upskilling them qualitatively, but we have fed a lot even into our educational syllabus that how will technology improve things. Hence you go out, be creative, but you are lost on how to implement it. But people are important.
Very well. You touched upon few things which were on my agenda, but I'm very much conscious of the time constraints. So I would now request one last hand probably can go up, and then we will wrap up this session. Any question for Vivek or Annie or Balaji, anybody? Okay.
But I would like to know what the governance period on the bank. How do you get them to kind of adopt computerization? Offline.
Offline. I would take it offline.
That Kerala branch experience will be very good topic offline. Thank you. There is one hand going up there, and that will be the last question, please.
So my dilemma or confusion has been for a very long time has been about the speed at which the technology is changing and the obsolescence. How much we can run after, and then are we really reaping the benefits of it? And how do we balance this? Of course, we've been hearing about the capex is not going to be that heavy as the technology is evolving. Still, I think there are a lot of organizations that fear is there that should we really invest in it? By the time you invest and turn back, it's obsolete, and then what else we should do? So any thoughts on that?
Vivek?
So I should take that, I can take that. So that's always a dilemma at a corporate, and I think when we walk into any corporate, I think that's one of our main sale pitch, where we say you don't really need to invest in technology at all. I mean, there are partners who are doing this day in and day out for you. So you take any process, you take HR, you take finance, you take workflows, you take BPM, as you say. Our specialization is that, and we are constantly evolving technology, processes, and also bringing in new interfaces. So whether it is mobile, whether it is Internet of Things, they're all getting integrated because our focus is there. When a corporate invests in a technology to do a particular process, and I'm keeping that separate from an ERP because that is a requirement that most corporates will have. But when they try and invest in technology to achieve a specific process, that typically becomes pretty much a standalone initiative and over a period of time dilutes. So my pitch has always been that corporates shouldn't invest in technology for specific processes, and there are always partners in the ecosystem which can bring a lot of value addition because they're focusing on development of new things and processes all the time.
Okay, you want to add on? Okay, really had